This episode of Broken Bones and Bullshit is sponsored by Ozcan Rule. So, welcome on, Adam the Tiger Mcnamara.
Thank you, Bennett. Knock that one in.
So tell us about the Tiger. Where did that come from?
That come from my fighting background. So when I first started fighting when I was 16, I was too young to fight in Victoria. You had to be 18 to fight professionally. So I ended up fighting in Adelaide from 16 and a half. I was fighting men. 16 and a half to 18, I fought in Adelaide. And I got it up in my first fight because my skill level probably wasn't like you would expect, but I just wanted to win. And, I won most of them. Yeah.
And what discipline's that in?
That was majority. I trained full Muay Thai rules. So hands, knees, kicks, and hands, knees, legs, and elbows. And in Thailand at the time, back in the early 90s, you could still headbutt. So, but in Australia, they would modify it. So in different states of Australia, they'd have different rules where they allow. So like WA and Queensland, you could fight full Thai rules, where South Australia, Victoria, New South, you could only fight modified Thai rules. So that was with elbows out. Yeah.
And how long did you fight for?
I fought for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a fair bit of fun for 8 years, yeah.
And you had a bit of success with it?
Yeah, I started out, as I said, I was 16 and a half, and my first fight, I was meant to fight a guy that was having his first fight in the night, and I got all the way to Adelaide to train for a couple of months prior to it, and it was my first fight. Got all the way over there, and it was a no-show. So the promoter at the time and my trainer, they had a bit of a talk out the back, and it turned out that the guy my weight, also super light heavyweight, his fighter didn't show either. But I had a bit of a chat, and my trainer comes back and he goes, there's a problem, but it's a good problem. He goes, we've got you a fighter. He goes, but he was meant to be fighting for the Australian title tonight. He's already had 9 fights, 9 wins, 9 knockouts. And that was my first fight. And he's 23 and you're 16. I said, well, I've come all this way, let's fight.
Oh, yeah.
So I went into that fight and that's where my nickname come from, the Tigers. I just wanted to win. I ended up biting him and scratching him and got a lot of points taken off me, but I actually won the fight, but lost it with points getting taken off me.
Wow.
It was a wild fight. I remember I drew blood on his eyebrow. I bit him on the face, and I just want to win, and that's where I went for the rest of my career. I'd win. Yeah. And
only in Australia, or you fought overseas?
No, I fought all over the world. So I spent I didn't leave Australia till I was about 19 or 20, but by then I'd had about 14, 15 fights. Apart from the first one, losing on points, but I should have won. I won them all, and then I ended up getting a opportunity to go to Holland in Amsterdam. So I was about 19 at the time. So a 19-year-old boy coming from the farm in the Western Districts, and next minute I'm on a plane, I'm in Amsterdam, and that was a bit of a shock. So, but the gym I went to I was getting trained at Chakariki, which is a big Thai boxing gym, and to be mentored by Tom Harrick from Chakariki, it'd be the equivalent of going to America and learning for 12 months of Chad Berger how to condition a bull. Yeah. That was where he was, Tom Harrick and Chakariki, and I had a hell of a time there. The only rules were you lose, you go home.
Yeah.
So I didn't lose. I spent nearly 12 months there and had a few fights around in Paris, Berlin. I made a bit of a mistake in Berlin, but I may have had the crowd against me a bit, but with the odd comment. But I beat the German there, and my acceptance speech for it, I actually got up and said, I thought you Germans were tougher than that. And I got booed off pretty quick.
That's a way to make friends.
Oh, no, I got police escort out of the ring, and I was meant to be in Berlin for 3 days, but we were told to go home that night. So I went back to Amsterdam. And then got home from Amsterdam, and about 2 months later, I ended up in Thailand for 12 months. So I lived over there and fought over there. But I knew when I went to Thailand, I wouldn't have the amount of fights because of the size. I was there but we had plenty of fights. I had to fight every second or third night, but they were sort of, you been to Thailand?
Nah.
So they do a lot of like stage fights. So I come and meet the Australian, Thunder from down under and all this, and they do bang their drums and some of them are staged, and then others are like tourists. Like most of them are European or US sailors. They have a fair bit to drink and think they want to fight. Because every pub over there, there might be 30, 40 bars under one roof, but no walls. And there's a kickboxing ring in the middle. So they get half a dozen beers in them. They think they can fight. Let's fight. So it was a fight every night. So if you wanted to, we'd end up fighting anyone from anywhere, any size, and just have a lot of fun. Yeah.
Did you run into some decent sort of fighters?
Yes. When I was I ran into a lot of fighters, mainly in Holland, all around Australia, and there was a lot of good fighters back in that era. There's still good fighters now, but my first day in Amsterdam, I'd idolised this guy for probably 3 or 4 years. He was probably 10 years older than me. He was the K1 world Thai boxing champion, Peter Ertz, and he was coming off a massive victory in South Africa through breaking Andy Hugg's neck with a head kick. And my first day at Chakariki, Tom Marrick goes, Aussie, spar Peter. And he was 20 kilos heavier than me. And I just went to water. I was like, knees went. I was like, oh, good God, this is not happening, is it? I get in there and honestly, I'd had 15 or 16 fights and I was sharp. And I get over there and my first round was, it's like a 14-year-old boy again. So I didn't know what I was doing. And then they sort of called me over and said, you're better than that. Like, show us what you got. And but honestly, he was the legend of super heavyweight kickboxing, no matter who they were. Sam Greco, Stan the Man, they were all superstars. But Peter Ertz was the pinnacle. And, for Thai boxing. And I learned a lot. I actually learned more sparring Peter Ertz nearly every second day than what you learn off sparring anyone else, because he was so good, he didn't want to hurt you. Yeah. He wanted to teach you. Yeah. And I learned a lot off him, yeah.
It's like all them good guys, they want to pull you up. They don't want to push you down.
Yeah, you always see like the blokes had 2 or 3 fights and they want to try and knock you out. Yeah. Where if you're sparring like absolute world champions, you learn more. And you rise to that level. And it's just different. Yeah.
Because I've got my best friend, we started boxing at the same time, and I went on to have a career and had a bunch of fights and did all that, and he could never get a control of his weight, so he never had a fight. Yeah. And every weekend, even to this day, he'll still go out wanting to fight people and all that, because it's like he's got something to prove, where I've never had nothing to prove because I'd already done it in the ring and done it the right way. Yeah. So then you don't have that chip on your shoulder to try to go out and hurt someone, because I know I could beat a lot of people. So what's the point of doing it when they're not, they're not as trained as we are?
Well, yeah, it's sort of like you know what you can do. Yeah. And but whether you win a fight or lose a fight, you've done enough fighting yourself, you still get hurt even if you win. Yeah. So I've got no ambition of getting hurt. So like I'm getting a bit older now, so I'd rather just whatever, mate. Yeah. It's just let's just leave it be. Yeah. You got to pretty well wind me up now for me to react. Where at 18 to 23-year-old Adam was a bit different. A lot different. Yeah.
So how many fights did you end up having?
I'm not sure when it comes to when in Thailand with all those fights. It was heaps of them over there. Professional record was 21 wins. 21 wins and 23 fights. So I lost 2. Yeah.
So your first fight and then one in the mix.
Yeah, that was I fought the Albanian champion, and to this day that was still the hardest fight of my life. So yeah.
And you ended up with a few titles in that, or?
Yeah, I got the Victorian title at 18, and then luck happens. I wasn't even 19. I was nearly 19 at the time, and there was an opening come up at a fight in Adelaide, and the funny story behind that was I was a late sort of entry for it. the first original one pulled out, so they chose me because you know what it's like in fighting size. You got your champion, your first, second, third contenders, and I was about third or fourth in the Australian contender. And but the guy that wanted to fight me, or held the Australian title, was the guy I fought when I was 16. So I jumped at it. I said, let's go and fight him again.
I've already met him before.
Yeah,
So.
so we got over to Adelaide and was at the nightclub called the Heaven nightclub. And I'd gone, I had 2 months to get ready for that fight, and I'd gone through that fight 1,000 times in my head. I knew exactly how I was going to beat him. And that's how I went into that with every fight. I trained. If I was running, I was thinking about the fight. I'd shadow box in front of the mirror. I'd think about the fight. I'd go to bed and wake up thinking of the fight. And I got over there, and they'd made a beautiful belt for this guy. And Troy Fiddler, he was a hell of a fighter. He's a tough boy, Troy Fiddler. And they made a beautiful belt for him. I said, that'll look good on me, won't it? Listen to the pros, that sort of give me a bit of a... I said, I'm beating him tonight. I said, it's happening. And the whole crowd was South Australia versus Victoria. There wasn't many Victorians in the crowd. And we went on, and I dropped him 4 or 5 times in 5 rounds, and I won it unanimously. Yeah.
And that was your biggest moment?
That was the biggest moment in kickboxing. Yeah, that was... you're Australian champion. I'm not quite 19, and it was a big achievement. And I went on and held that for a while. Yeah.
And how did the whole rodeo come into it then? Coming from a fighting background, how did you end up start riding bulls?
So I grew up on the farm, and we were always getting on weaners. Well, Dad was sort of back in the 70s, 60s, 70s. They were sort of getting on bullocks at local shows, Dad and his brother, my uncle. And but we always were told, as we were growing up through kids, that my grandmother's cousin was we didn't know at the time, he's going, he's a legendary saddlebronc rider. And we're like, as kids, you just sort of hear it and flog it off. But it turned out that my grandmother's first cousin's Alan Woods, who rode Curio. And that's the statue at Marrable now. So, I respect it a lot more now. But as a kid, I'd never heard of the bloke. But, and then we got going through that. So we're always sort of around it. But my grandfather was a boxer, and all his family were boxers, and one of his cousins was in the Melbourne 56 Olympics, and we could always box. So then I went down that path. But where the rodeo changeover with fighting happened, my fighting trainer went to live in Queensland to train up there, and I didn't want to go to Queensland, so I had to choose another gym, and I went to Melbourne for 12 months. And in that 12 months, nothing felt right. I had 2 fights, 1 loss, and down then that was one of my losses, and I just didn't feel right. Yeah. But in that 12-month transit, I was starting to go over the Woodalls a bit, and sort of get on the odd. I think I got on about 2 or 3 bareback horses the first time, and that didn't end well. And then a couple of weeks later, Jack said, come over, get on some bulls. And like a week or 2 later, and went over there, and I met this guy called Ned Kelly. I don't know if you know Ned or Clay Kelly. He's a real genuine bloke, and he was what bloody surprised me about going from fighting to bull riding was that even though he was sort of in the middle of second divvy to break an open right then, I was a bit taken back because from fighting, and you know yourself, it's a very single sport, and I'd never had anyone that's going to be your opponent, basically, your competition, telling you how to be better. Yeah. And it just blew me away. I was like,
I had the exact same feeling.
This is just weird. I went, we could be competing against each other, and you tell me how to be better.
Well, in fighting, we're here and you stay there. Yeah. And they stay there. Like, no, you don't mingle.
Not even in the gym, because like even in some of the gyms I fought training around the world, like it happened on quite a few occasions. Like you might have the champion in one weight, but there might be same guy in the same weight that might be a bit better. So he ended up changing gyms so he could get the title. It was sort of very self sort of, but rodeo just blew me away, and that way they'd help you. So I sort of started getting on a few and thought the bareback didn't go that good the first couple of times. I was hurt, and then and then Going away from bareback riding, or leaving there that day, well, I got on, I think it was 2. Jack goes, oh, we're riding bulls next weekend and stuff. I said, oh, yeah, I'll be here. As I'm driving away, I go, what in good Christ would want you get? Why would you want to get on one of those things? Well, I've seen him in the yard. Like, the fuck would I want to get on that for? But all week, I'd sort of gone from being not a chance to by the end of the week, why not? Let's have a go.
Yeah.
Went down and got on my first one. And that was just a different feeling. I said, this is unbelievable. And I was looking for another adrenaline sport to switch over.
Yeah.
So I sort of like that sort of adrenaline fighting and stuff like that. So that's basically where it started. And 2 weeks later, I think it was an RSA show at Mount Gambier. Mildura show. Went up there, didn't go any good.
Yeah.
But that's where it sort of started
competing,
from. Yeah.
And so you had your family, your old man got on bullocks and that?
Yeah, Dad and my uncle, they got on a few just local shows back in the day, back in the sort of 60s and 70s, around Western Districts of Victoria. And then, and then my grandmother's cousin could ride a saddle bronc horse. So, yeah, that's where it sort of started from, yeah.
And how long did you ride bulls for?
I rode bulls until I only rode for 6 years. Probably 7 years, about 23 to 30. And it just probably finished a bit too early, but I sort of had other things in mind. I wanted to set myself up with working and buying places. And that's why I took a step back from that and, started working and set myself up to buy places,
Yeah. And you had a bit of success riding bulls?
Not in title wise.
Yeah.
I rode and won shows and had a fair bit of fun. And rode and won plenty of shows, but no
no Australian title.
No Australian or state or any titles like that. No.
Yeah.
No.
But just had fun doing it.
Had a lot of fun doing it, yeah.
It's I was trying to explain to people and you'd be able to have the same feeling as me. I'd won a bunch of fights, but that feeling is nothing like when you ride a bull. The height you get from
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just I've never how pumped up you get from finishing a bull. I've never had that feeling from winning a fight.
No, it's different. It's you can't explain it. I think it comes back to a lot like in the fighting scene, and you'd know that there's a lot of green-eyed monsters there. Where in the cowboy scene, the riding scene, your mate's actually genuine.
Yeah.
And I think you win a ride, you win a show, but your mates are just as excited as you are. And it just makes for a better night. And I think that, you sort of all feed off each other.
It's a wild feeling that like you could overtake your buddy by 1 point or something and end up winning the show and he's throwing his hat at the end of your ride, celebrating with you.
Yeah.
Where coming from fighting would never happen.
Never happen. It's very sort of one-on-one sort of there.
Yeah,
it never happened. No,
just your coach and your trainer and you just stick with each other. And
that's it. Yeah, it's different.
It's a different sort of mindset. Like
it is. Yeah, like I think they're both in the mindset ways that you both got to be in both sports. You got to be very mentally strong and know what you're doing, and have no second sort of guesses of what you should or shouldn't be doing. If you step inside the ring, there's nowhere to hide. You get on the back of the bull, there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
So you want to be switched on, and I think they both sort of help each other a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a long while to try to get it to cross over in my mindset from because I always had a great mindset fighting, but I think I got a lot of confidence fighting from never missing training sessions, being extremely fit, knowing how good I was. And then took me a long while to sort of try to get a strong mindset with riding bulls, because it can be like just throwing you in the dirt for a long time, for a few years. So it was hard to switch over because I've never done a sport that I've just found so hard. Like with fighting, it seemed to come a lot easier to me.
It did seem to come a lot easier for me, but I was trained from when I was about 8 to box, and switched into kickboxing pretty quick. But you look at bull riding, even all the other disciplines of the rodeo. It actually looks easy, but it's a simple sport, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Like it's bloody hard to do.
Yeah. Just jump on and hang on, apparently.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh.
So you finished riding at 28?
About 30.
30,
Yeah, 30. But there's a lot of injuries come into that too. So
Yeah.
and sort of like some decent injuries, like broke the neck and back, and bit of a weird sort of tingly feeling for a few months after that, and then I come back and I started riding again, and ended up doing the bugging the knee up pretty good, and sort of about that 29 or 30, and I was sore, and from fighting and from 16 to 30, even fighting with it takes a toll on the body. I had 14 years to knock myself around, and I was just sore.
Yeah.
And I said, I actually want
Need a rest.
I actually want to make a living and buy a place, and
Yeah.
I thought, and at that time, like, and I wasn't good enough to make enough money out of bull riding, so I thought, well, you know what, you've had fun, let's just go and get work and buy a place. So that's where I come. That's where I finished.
Yeah. And now you're into the bull breeding. When did that start?
So that started in 2019. I was wanting to do it for a while. And then we're sitting there, my wife and we were sitting there one night watching the PBR in America, and I sort of said to her, I'd love to breed a few bulls. And so she goes, well, why don't you? Don't think at the time, she knew how expensive it was.
Dummy the books up a bit.
Oh, yeah, I might have fudged it a bit so we make money, but we didn't. It's cost a lot so far. And so, yeah, and she was real supportive and on board. And the only phone call I ever made was to Jack. And I said, I want to buy some bulls off you. He goes, well, come to Denny in a week's time. He goes, we'll talk about it then. So I'll get up there and we get talking again. And he goes, you'd be better off to buy a dozen heifers off me. He goes, and breed your own. He goes, it's better when you breed your own. And I went, yeah, right. So I went and bought 6 off Jack and 6 off Ron. And that's where we started. And only in 2019.
Yeah,
and
wow.
we sort of, and I was sort of thinking, well, the first crop of calves we got, there was 9 bulls and 1 heifer, and I went, we've got 9 bucking bulls. Yeah, no, they sort of, they've been dwindled down now to 3. It's a lot harder to breed a good one than I thought.
Yeah. Oh, this is easy. I just got 9 champions.
Oh, so I've got 9 bulls, so I'm right to go. No, I haven't. Yeah, you go through them.
Did it take you a while to get a feel for it?
The breeding?
Yeah, the breeding side of it. And
I sort of knew what I was wanting. And then straight away I bought straws off Jack again, off from a couple of old bulls, Wild Thing and Chucker Howie. They were really good bulls 20 odd years ago. And he still had straws there. So they were the first 2 years of calves with them two. And they've got a little one now at home. He's rising 4. He's,
that little thing?
Little thing.
Yeah.
He's 14-0. So 7 PBR trips, bucked them all off, and he's had 7 BBAs and he's bucked them off. So
yeah.
He's a little cracker.
He's a cool little dude.
But he's the guy in the bull that you'd want to get on.
Oh, he's a good one to draw.
He's still like your boomstick. You'd want to get on him.
Yeah.
You know, he's
just good, honest bulls. They do what you want them to do.
They're not going to try and eat you.
No.
Yeah, well, getting on bull, you might get hurt, but they give you every chance to get out cleanly, and
they all just kick and spin.
They do, yeah, and they're just cool to watch.
Yeah,
yeah. And
he's a paddock favourite at home, or
yeah, he's definitely the paddock favourite. He's got 2 little brothers though. They're coming up all right too. So and they're just as. The funny thing is, like Wild Thing was pretty quiet, and it's thrown it on to his sons, but Little Thing's a bit of a smart ass. If he thinks you're looking at him, he won't go near you. But the minute you take your eyes off him, he starts sniping you. And if you turn and he'll get to about a metre off, and you turn around and you look, and he'll back up. You are a smart ass, mate. And his 2 little brothers are the same. Like they'll try and get you, but you can't be looking at them. Smart ass. Yeah.
And So how many you got on tour now at the moment?
So there's only really 3 that like we're performing and taking around.
Yeah.
But one of them, it's not ours, not mine and Liv's. So
Yeah.
that's a mate of ours from South Australia, Mick Flanagan. He's got a Margie time calf, which is called our Margio. And he's just a cool bull. He's that quiet. I had to push him out of the gateway the other day to get the ute through. Like he was, he's just a cool bull too. But he's been out with some girls. So he's got 15 calves due in February.
Oh, great.
And little thing's got 10. Yeah, so we'll see what February brings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Yeah.
You were telling me how you ended up with a mob a little bit bigger than you were expecting.
The which one?
The mob you had, like 60 odd cows.
Because we only just recently moved up to the river, and I was sort of going through the paddocks and writing down what we had: heifers, cows, yearling bulls, older bulls, calves, and I didn't think I had that many. Oh, geez, it's going to take me a few more trips than I thought. We're getting them up. They're nearly all up, but another week or two and they'll be all up here. Yeah.
Well, what just move?
Wife got a better opportunity to job up in that part of the world. So we'd only just moved to our last place. We'd only been there 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
She got an opportunity to come up here and have a better job. And this is where I always wanted to be, on the river anyway, close to the BBAs and PBRs in New South Wales. So I thought, well, it's come up 5 years early, so
just make it happen.
Let's make it happen. Let's do it. Yeah.
So what have you done for a day job? Because you did a bit of work in the prisons.
Yeah. So when I was finishing up rodeo, and even before I was finishing up rodeo, I've always been on farm, shearing. I've done a lot of different jobs. I left school at 15, and then basically just went straight to work from there, picking fruit, fencing, any job I could find to make money. But then I settled down, picked a fencing contract, rural fencing, and I had that, I don't know, for about 10 years or 11 years, and then I just heard the radio one day, and they said, let's just come over come and work for the government in prisons. And it always fascinated me, the old prison system. So just for a bit of shits and giggles, I put my application in. And it would have been wild because I had no idea how to put an application together. And I threw it in and heard nothing for about 6 months. And they called me back, "You're in." Christ, I said, "When?" I said, "In 6 weeks' time." And I'd just taken on a big job, and I went, "I'm going to work 7 days a week to get this done." So I went in, and I spent 7 years working in prisons throughout Victoria, and that's where I met Liv.
Yeah,
that's always a great conversation starter when you're standing around and people go, "Oh, where did you two meet?"
In prison.
In prison. But you leave them go for about 30 seconds, and then you watch them sort of try and slowly back out of the room on you, like, and they start to look around like, "Where can I go?" We were working there.
Yeah.
But for that 30 seconds, they actually go nearly white. So like, oh, no, sort of like, it's good. Yeah.
You would have had, you got any wild stories from in the prisons, or you can't speak on it too much?
Oh, yeah, nah, probably not. Look, majority of the time it runs very smoothly, but every now and again it sort of, that's where I was in the riot squad. So we get called in, and and most of them are all fairly big kingpin and players. So I'll keep their names out of it. Yeah.
Well, a lot of the hierarchy in prison is based off fighting and all that. So you would have got a little bit of respect from a few guys in there from having a fighting background.
It was actually funny, and in Barwon prison, the trainer went down to Melbourne with Johnny Sheeter. His logo's still in there. He used to come in and train fight. He used to come in and train him. So and he's it was different. Yeah, to walk in sort of years later, I've seen the same logo sitting in Barwon prison. I was like, "He's right, yeah."
Take it back to when you were 16. Yeah,
because I think he used to go in there. He used to like try and help boys. He had the police gym in like sort of police youth gym in Sunshine. He'd just try and get them back on the straight and narrow, and then some of the boys would end up going in, and he was granted to go in and just keep him going and try and get him back because he's a pretty good bloke and just get him back in the straight and narrow. Yeah.
It's I feel like fighting and rodeo is a good spot for like wild lost kids, like because
Yeah.
it's an outlet that you can sort of
Definitely.
you can do it, and it both of the sports will grow you up and
They
make you
will.
pull your head in, like because
Yeah, it's like yeah, you're right there because there's no room for an idiot.
yeah,
So and you'll get pulled up pretty quick.
and you're surrounded by men in both them worlds, so
And both of them can go.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you can be a loudmouth if you want, but you'll get called out pretty quick too. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would.
it's because I see with boxing too. There's a lot of like boxing in blue in Bendigo. They do it, and it's like a lot of the police and bringing in troubled kids and teaching them to fight, the sort of thing. It would be good if we could set something up in rodeo that like a bull riding thing that kids that are sort of little lost or a little troubled
would
come
be
in.
all right, yeah, because they're all got most of them got a fair bit of heart,
Yeah.
so they go all right, yeah.
Well, because a lot of people, if we didn't grow up on a farm, everybody would be in jail. Because like you're out and
I'm glad I grew up in an era where there was no cameras on the phone. Yeah, that was good. Got a little bit wild there at times.
So, speaking of wild people, I hear your cousin's a bit wild.
Yeah, well, he's a he started rodeoing at the same time that I did, so he never fought, but he's just a wild individual, and he thought he'll come and give bull riding a go, and he's Mcnamara or what he was called in rodeo on Bucksnort. I don't know where he got that name from, but it stuck. But he was very annoying to travel with. So we headed off and heading up to Queensland. We were going to do, it's a show before Cloncurry, then Cloncurry, Mount Isa, then we're going to Darwin. As we're going out of Mount Isa, heading up to Darwin, he's just shitting me. Like I'd had 4 weeks with him, and I just thought, what am I going to do with this bloke? Do I send him home? Or it's going to cost too much. So I'm sort of had a lot of time to think. I'm heading across the Camel Wheel and started heading up to Darwin. And we pulled in. It's about the same. It was the same year as that backpacker got murdered up there, that Falconio guy.
Yeah,
I don't even know what year that was, but I pulled into this little service station. It was about Burra Creek or something. And I said, "Can you go and get me a drink, mate?" Yeah, mate. He ran in as the shop door shut. I drove off. You're staying there. I haven't had enough of you. So I drove off, and 3 days later, I get up to Catherine, and I told the boys I've left him. I've left him back there, and they're going, "Aren't you worried about him?" I went, "Nah, nothing will happen to him. Trust me." We get to Darwin, about 3 or 4 days, and I actually didn't have a phone, so he couldn't even contact me anyway. And sitting back, and I was thinking, Jesus, because he could talk. All he did was talk the whole time, 24/7. And I was like, and he had no money, so I was paying for everything, entries, food, the lot. So get to Darwin, this is so relaxing without him in my ear the whole time. And his horse truck pulled in. And all you hear from a distance is this muffled, "Adam! Adam!" He's here. I thought, where is this boy? And this horse truck pulled up. I couldn't see him in it. Tailgate went down. Out pops Bucksnort. He's in with the horses. "What are you doing?" He's run over to me, and he's basically fallen at my knees. So what's happened, mate? He goes, "You got no idea what I had to do to get here." "What did you have to do, mate?" He goes, "They've taken advantage of him for 3 days." He goes, one after another. There was 2 ladies that were giving him a ride, and they were pretty wild at the time, the girls, these 2, and they were probably in their 40s, and he would have been early 20s, and apparently they were taking turns at him. So I shouldn't have worried him too much. Yeah, he worked out that he talked too much, and then from the trip to Darwin to Alice Springs, I also had to tell him to start talking again. I was getting bored.
He's a bit quiet.
I said, "Mate," I said, "sorry, I'll kick you out because you talk too much, but it's too quiet now, mate. You're going to have to get going again." He learnt.
Well, it could have been worse. At least them ladies didn't have cocks. It could have been a lot worse.
Well, it could have been a lot worse. Yeah, like I said to him, I said, "Come on, man." I said, "You're a young boy in there. probably in their 40s at the time. I said, you went out of ball for 3 days. Not really. He's going, I went, yeah, come on. You're lying to me now.
That's a fair old stitch up.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was warning him for 3 days. I will leave you on the side of the road. And he didn't believe me as we pulled out of Mount Isa. He still hadn't had a shower for about 5 days. And I went, you're going to get left. We get the Barclay Homestead and you don't have a shower there. I'm going to leave you somewhere. And he didn't believe me, and I did. He got left in Burra Creek.
We'll take a little break and then we'll get back into it.
Right, but
Ozcan Rural, providing Southwest Victoria with everything related custom sheep and cattle yards. Get in touch with the fellas via email ozcanrural@gmail.com. That's AUS, can like the one you drink, rural@gmail.com. Building fences straighter than your local politician. So welcome back.
thank you.
So who are some of the people that helped you get started with the rodeoing and the bull breeding?
Well, I grew up down in the Western Districts of Victoria, and I didn't know them growing up, but everyone knew who the Woodalls were, and that was my first port of call when I wanted to start riding. So yeah, over there to Ron and Jack, and they got me going, and yeah.
And then had to call them back again when you wanted to start breeding them.
Yeah, so at the end, first call, and that was the only call I made, and that was the blood of cows I wanted. So yeah, that's straight up and straight into them. Yeah.
So we touched a little bit on it before, but how's your sort of mindset going into when you're riding bulls? Was it different to when you were fighting?
It was, because when I was fighting, it was even up my first or second fight. My mind said I was world champion anyway, and nothing was going to beat me. Where bull riding was a little bit different. My mindset was probably a bit different with bull riding. You couldn't really train for 3 or 4 months out for that one opponent. You had no idea you were getting from one week to the next. So I was probably a little bit more relaxed with that way. And it's just sometimes I wouldn't even worry about what I was getting on. I'll just turn up and work it out from there. But still had the mindset of when I saw that, what I was getting on, what I knew I was getting on, still had the mindset I wanted to bite it on the ears or something like yeah, you want to jump around and be angry? Well, let's do it. They didn't worry me that much. Like, just get aggressive. Yeah, just like take the aggression that I would have for 2 months leading up to a fight, where with a bull ride you'd have like 4 or 5 hours, but I'd still have the same aggression level, but just didn't have the build up to it.
Yeah, because I had a similar mindset with the fight, and I had that much confidence. I always thought I'd already won the fight. I just had to go on Saturday and show everyone how I did it.
Turn up and get it.
Yeah. So like,
that was it, yeah.
And yeah, I went through the same thing as you were saying, rodeo, and it's different.
Yeah, you're different opponent or different bull every week. Like when I was in Canada riding, might have been 4 or 5 bulls for the weekend.
Yeah,
I was on that CCO over there, so it was just you just couldn't actually prepare yourself. So you just turn up and get on, but still be aggressive and still have the mindset of you're gonna ride it, you're gonna win, because there's no point in entering in any sport if you don't think you're gonna go any good. You got to believe in yourself. And it's like fighting and bull riding is very similar. Most of it's mental.
Yeah.
It's what you think about will happen. Just you want to win. It doesn't happen all the time when you're riding bulls, but still have that same aggression.
Yeah. Because it's I think it's different too. Because like you could be the best in the world and still only have a 30% riding percentage.
Yeah.
We're fighting.
If you're 30% win rate, you're pretty ordinary.
But
You're right there with. It's different.
Yeah, it's harder to sort of like. It was easier for me to get confidence because like I had so many wins.
Yeah.
So and then I was winning like most of the time I did it.
Yeah.
Where rodeo, it's flipped on its head.
I found it was probably more, although you had the same sort of same mentality, I found it more relaxing and not as nerve-wracking, I suppose, because sort of had that you want to win, but it didn't really matter if you fell off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just went out like, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
If you win, you win. You don't, you don't.
Mm.
Just give it everything you got. Where with fighting, you had to win.
Mm.
Like you had to win, because if you lost, then that might be the last 12 or 18 months of training going down the drain.
Yeah.
Like you're like when you're fighting, you might drop 3 or 4 ranks, and then you got to fight for another 12 months to get back to where you were.
Yeah.
So it did matter. With bull riding, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But you wanted to do it.
Mm.
But it sort of the pressure was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I found that it was like people like, oh, were you ever scared of getting hurt fighting? I said, no, I was never scared of getting hurt fighting. I was scared of getting embarrassed.
Yes.
I didn't want to get like laid out in front of all my friends and family.
No.
And where bull riding, I never had that fear of being embarrassed. Like I could get knocked out clean in the arena, and I never had that fear of like being ashamed or being embarrassed.
Yeah, it comes down to like you're versing a beast.
Yeah.
Whether you're getting on a bull or it's another man against you, and it's just like you're not better than me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't lose because I've got 50 mates or 50 family members. There's 5,000 or 6,000 people. I've drawn you for 20 minutes, half an hour. Yeah, you don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
You actually give it everything you got. Yeah, there's nowhere to hide either.
It is funny, like trying to think of the mindset, how sort of different it is.
It is, yeah.
Because like both dangerous sports, obviously, rodeo is way more dangerous. I never really got that hurt fighting. A few breaks and
I had more injuries rodeo.
Oh yeah.
Fighting you do your sore wrist.
And fractures.
And then with Thai boxing, you'd have splints on your shins or stuff like that. But with bull riding,
they're like car accidents.
It was next level sort of thing. It was broken neck and back and arm and fractured jaw and the knee. What I've done in Canada, that was one of the most painful things I've ever felt. It was this fucking bull. It was like this big man-eating bastard. And the minute I got down on him, all he wanted to do was roll in the chutes. And get down and I started doing my wraps. And he's gone down, but he's half twisted on the side. And then he's come up, but my knee got caught under the rail, my kneecap. And my kneecap ended up going down my leg. And that was painful. I was like, yeah, I'm out.
No more.
I'm tapping out of this and I can't actually move. That was painful. Yeah.
Yeah, talk us through some of the injuries you had bull riding.
So, that knee, that took me a little while to get over. The neck and back, they were...
Did you do them at the same time?
Yeah, the same ride. So it was bloody different because I think, looking back on it now, I know what I did wrong. I got out and I rode the bull, but I was in too much hurry to get off him. All I wanted to do was get off him. And I did not pick the spot at all. And I ended up jumping off right next to his head, and he's upended me, and I've landed on my head. But I heard this snap, but I didn't really know what had happened. And then there was too much going on from there, like he was jumping all over me. And then he ended up taking out the bullfighter because back then you only had one bullfighter, and Paul Shakuba or Shuey, and he ended up getting taken out by the bloody bull. And then my good old mate, Jobbo, he was getting ready to ride the next bull, and he realised I'm in a bit of trouble because I actually was having a lot of trouble feeling. Like, it went a bit weird, like your arm going to sleep when you're like your arm going numb when you're sleeping.
Yeah.
But it was all sort of legs and arms. I had this weird bloody feeling going on, and he's actually jumped over, and the bull was heading back for me, and he's got the attention of the bull, and he sort of started. He wasn't a bullfighter either, like short little fella, but he was no bullfighter. But he sort of ran towards the outlet gate, and as the bull smoked him near the outlet gate, it was enough to get him out. And I don't know where I'd be if he hadn't have done that. Yeah, bloody hell, yeah.
And then so you did your neck and back, and then what other injuries after that? And the knee?
Yeah, knee, and then I fractured the jaw. I don't know which ride that was. But then I was just starting to get good momentum, and then I just got 2 or 3 CBRs under me back in the day of the Championship Bull Riders, and I went to one of I think it was Ronnie's show down near Coleraine, Kanongwatong, and I drew one of Ronnie's old bulls called Toe Cutter. He was a ripping old bull. and I rode him that night. But for some reason, I don't know what happened. But as I've come off him, I've snapped my arm in half. And but the next day I had a bull of Macca's called Crime Time. And I was really wanting to get to that show, but there was no way I was getting to that show because as I got back out of the arena, the pain's kicking in. I sort of went like that and my arm had a bit of a bow in it. So, yeah, 2 plates and 12 screws in that one. So, yeah, that was a decent one. But another one was probably, it's more embarrassing than anything with injuries, was in Canada. I never got me callbacks in Canada. I didn't know the bulls. And I pull up to this show and we get out and I had my good mate with me, Jock Hislop, bareback rider. Do you know Jock Hislop?
No.
He's a wild man, and we travel Canada together. And I went over to look at the draw, what I'd drawn, and another good Canadian mate of mine, Chris Johnson, he sort of said, "Oh, what have you got here today, Aussie?" And he looked down, but he'd gone white. He saw the bull. I said, "What's going on, mate?" He goes, "You got yak pack." I went, "What the fuck's yak pack?" He goes, "He hasn't been ridden." He goes, "Everyone turns him out." He goes, "There's no shame in turning him out." And I'm like, "What is this thing?" He goes, "That's him over there." And he was the biggest, ugliest, like hairy, just an ugly bull with big horns. Jesus, but angry. I got to about 3 or 4 minutes off the fence and he's into the fence. He's ugly. I said, "He's got a bit of aggression, Johnson." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "The last bloke to get on about 6 months ago was put in a coma." Like he goes, "He actually will try and kill you, this bull." Oh, good Christ. He goes, no shame in turning him out. I said, "I ain't turned him out." I said, "We'll get on him."
Yeah.
And we're getting the rope on him. And I think Jock picked up on my vibes. I was a little bit, because he's a big bull, but he had a lot of aggression. And I'm like, I was starting like getting my mind going. But I was like, fucking big bull, yeah.
Fight aggression with aggression.
Yeah. And then Jock was a very intense man. And he's in me ear like, "You've got this, the safer spot's in the middle of the back." Right, no worries. And I was just taking me wraps and he sticks his head back under the rails. He goes, "Get aggressive." Right, I will. Get out there. And he was the coolest little bull. Oh, big bull. But he was just beautiful.
Yeah, out and
Out and rounds. This is awesome. But I was worded up before I got on him. Run. Land on your feet and run. Do not stuff around on the ground. And he was just beautiful into my hand. I jumped off. I thought I was running fast, but then you hear this crowd just starts, like they're getting louder and louder. And then the announcer goes, "Run, Aussie." I'm putting in the strides. I've landed halfway up the arena. And I was about to do another step over the arena, and then I've just been launched out of the arena. I've landed in this crumpled mess at the spectators' feet. The crowd thing is great because I was the only actual bull rider to ride that night. There was about 60-odd bull riders up for that night.
Oh,
and that was the biggest check I've ever got. It was about 8,000 Canadian. And I was pretty pumped. But I was only pumped for about 5 seconds because all of a sudden I feel this blood. But it was coming. I actually thought I'd lost a nut because there's blood starting to run down my leg. And I'm like, "What have I done?" I think he's knocked me nuts out because that's where he hit me. And I'm thinking, "Oh, no." And I sort of stood up and I went, "How am I going to actually walk back here? Like it might fall out." So I'm walking back and Jock's there. He's all aggressive. I walked up to him and I went, "Where's the ambulance?" He goes, "What's happened?" And I went, "I think he's let me nuts out." He goes, "Yeah, he got you good, didn't he?" I went, "Oh, let's go and see what's happened." Get the ambulance. He called him over and I was a bit embarrassed about the whole injury. So I didn't really want to explain it to him, but he didn't care. He's straight up to him, 2 female paramedics. "He thinks he's lost his nuts. Can you have a look for him?" I said, "Now, Jock." They go, "Oh, look, we'll get you in the back of the ambulance. So, you're out of the viewing eye." And, no worries. Down your pants. And there was blood. I'm thinking, "Oh, what has happened?" Because I didn't want to look. Because I said, if there's any injury there, this is not good. It's taking the pants down, blood everywhere, and I was just going. I was just laid back. They were assessing the damage, but he's like a little fox terrier at the back of the ambulance. And all I hear, I still remember to this day, he's going, "Oh, you split your gooch." I didn't know what a gooch was. So I'm going back going, what have I done? Is that another word for the knob of your dick, or have I actually let my nuts out, or what is a gooch? Like, I said, what's that? And he goes, yeah, the bit between your ass and your nuts, you split it. I went, oh no, what am I going to? They're going, oh, we're just going to whack about 3 stitches in it, you'll be right. Oh, no, that was uncomfortable. The next week traveling around was very uncomfortable. Yeah.
I got mine split. Have you heard about that? When I got stepped on and cut my arsehole in half.
That in Europe?
Yeah.
I heard you were talking to that
the Belgian fellow, yeah, Junior.
But you actually done a severed a vein, artery, didn't you? Yeah. No, I just got the gooch.
Just a little nippet.
Just a little nippet, but it was enough for me to be very frightened that I'd lost some things. No, there was none of that. No major. Took me a week or 2 to get over it, but it's still frightening when you're feeling blood run down there and going, there's something wrong. Especially at 24, you don't want to be losing your nuts.
Speaking of your nuts, they still work. You've had a couple of kids.
Yeah, there's 4 of them. Yeah, they still go. I actually honestly thought after all the injuries I'd done to myself with fighting, because you're getting kicked in the nuts a lot.
Yeah.
And bull riding, I got black in me. Like I've torn my groin that bad once, I black in me nuts. Like it was, and it's swelled a bit. And I thought, there's no way. Hell, I'm going to be able to have kids. There's 4 of them. 2 girls, 2 boys.
They all look like you?
Yeah, they all look like me, thank Christ. No, all good. They get their placidness from me. But they're pretty wild. I think the mother's coming out in a minute. She's wild.
Yeah, she had she used to do bodybuilding in that?
Yeah, she's IFBB pro.
Yep.
Yeah, she won a lot of IFBB pros and Arnold's and New Zealand Open champion, like in the big category, like the actual bodybuilding category.
Yeah, wow.
Her discipline and what's the word for it? For dieting was the next level. What you'd have to do for that. Like when you're fighting, like you can slip up here and there. But they're on stage and basically nothing, and they got to look ripped. And like the diet was water, boiled chicken, and vegetables. That was it. That 5 feeds a day. No soft drink, no sugar, nothing like that. Like when you hear what they do compared to what I did when I was fighting, it's a walk for me, like walking a park from my diets compared to what they used to do. Yeah,
and I think it's crazy for them too, because they go from eating as much as you could physically handle to then when they cut, then they just total opposite.
They sort of nearly dehydrate themselves. To tighten the skin up and to enhance the look. But she definitely when she was training, she would put every bloke to shame for shoulders and biceps. Let me tell you, I wouldn't even try and shave up.
So the kids should have a fair bloodline in them then.
They should too, because they might be able to play a bit of footy too, because Liv's family is like real good AFL players in that family, like Sebastian Ross, St Kilda, and then that follows on through Sebastian Ross, the Watsons, and then her brothers and her whole family. Her brother's 3 times best and fairest at his club, and her grandfather was, I think, 6 or 7 times, and I had a couple of cousins play AFL too. So if we don't breed a fighter, bull rider, it should be a footballer. One of the two. You never know.
Or bodybuilder.
My luck, they probably end up dancing. As long as they're good at it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you are, just be the best at it.
Just be the best at it, yeah. I'd probably rather than be doing something else than dancing. But, they're 2 boys anyway. There's no chance they're going to be dancing. They're as wild as hell. They shaped up to me the other day. They're 3.5 and 2.5, and I upset them, I think. And one of them bit me on the front of the leg, and the other one bit me on the back of the leg, and they were serious. It's like a couple of dogs trying to get off my leg. Little buggers.
Well, lucky they've got you for parents to try to rein them in.
Yeah, you could say lucky. Yeah, no, I sort of always had that attitude of, don't take anything laying down. So
Yeah.
they probably get that and like win at all costs sort of thing. So we might put probably a little bit too much pressure on the older two girls to win at sports, even though they're only 8 and 10. But yeah, that was our mindset, and that was Liv's mindset too. Win,
Yeah.
like, and that was her whole family's like, mindset too. Like, don't stuff around, win.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there should be something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between just wanting to win, but you's obviously put the work in too.
Yeah, you got to win. Like, you can sit there and imagine what you want to do all day long on the couch and not actually get off. And I want to do this, I want to do that, and that happens in anything in life. Like, you can think what you want to do, but it's actually taking the next step and actually having a crack.
Yeah.
And really doing it, and then but knowing you're doing it. But even when you're doing it, like your chips will be down. You might be out of money or this or that, whatever. Still do it. Dig deep, still do it. Just don't take your eyes off what you want. Focus on your goals and go towards them. Don't take your eyes off them.
So if you're giving advice to a young fella either wanting a fight or wanting a rodeo, is that what you'd sort of tell him?
Yeah, just know what you want, but don't take your eyes off, and then be serious with it. Like, don't stuff around with it. With fighting, I was very serious with it. There was nothing that would sway me at all. I wouldn't drink, wouldn't smoke, wouldn't party too much. Every now and again. Well, when I was in Amsterdam for 12 months, it was the odd party there, but especially some of them went to a phone party. That was different, but the phone come up over my head. But,
that's a lot of foam to come over your head.
Especially because I had a snorkel and a set of goggles on, and I thought they were bullshitting to me. I thought, I'm going to be the only prick walking into this phone party with goggles on. I wasn't. And the phone come up to about there, so I needed my snorkel to breathe. But the thing is, in Europe, they don't mind nudity.
Yeah.
You'd be dancing around, and all of a sudden, like a tit will hit you in the goggles. It's off its head, that joint. It's off its head. So, I thought, had a bit of fun.
So, the advice would be stay focused.
Yeah, we'll get back on track there.
Yeah, enough tits and goggles.
So, stay focused. I found when I was fighting, not so much when I was bull riding, when I was fighting, I'd write down my goals. I'd write down my 1 year, 5 years, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year goals, and then have baby steps in between where to get to. So like your 1 year goal, but you might be 4 little goals to get to that 1 year. And then your 2 year goals are all, and I wrote them down and I put them on my bedroom wall and I'd read them every night and keep reminding yourself what you're putting yourself through, what you're wanting. Because, it's very easy to sort of get sidetracked and give up. It's all too hard. You go to bed at night and you read what you're doing. Yeah, it puts you back in, right, we've got to go harder.
Yeah, I did the same thing because I found if I wanted something, but I'd end up running around in circles and not knowing. If I broke it down to do this, do that, do this, and then you're leading to that goal, then I found it easy.
Because it's a bit probably overwhelming for people if you go, you're here, but you want to be there, and that's all you're focusing on.
Yeah, you're looking at the big gap.
You're looking at the big gap, and it is too overwhelming, and it's just like, I can't do that. If you look at the 30 steps in between to get there, you can do that. And all of a sudden, you're 3/4 of the way up. We can do this. You just got to, believe in yourself. Get around the right people, though, because you get a lot of people in all walks of life, and anything they do, they're more than happy to bring you down.
Yeah.
Get rid of the negative. Get rid of the negative. Don't be around them people.
Yeah.
Be around the people that you want to be around. What you want to be around them. You want to be a champion bull rider. Get around them. You want to be a champion fighter. Get around them. Don't be asking the local thug at the pub how to be a world champion fighter or how to be a world champion bull rider. He's got no idea. But he'll tell you how to do it. Well, he'll tell you why you shouldn't do it. Get around the right people.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with the right people is anything you do in life. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, you are the company you keep.
You are. Yeah. My word.
So like it's as soon as you're around them guys and it feels possible.
Well, it does.
Because you're training with them, you're doing the same stuff. So it's like, well, I can keep it. I can run with these guys. There's no reason why I can't do what they've done.
No, like that's what I always thought too. And then when I don't know who it was. I think it might have been my grandfather told me. He goes, remember the people that you're trying to be, he goes, are just the same as you, flesh and blood. He goes, the only difference between you and them, he goes, they know they can do it.
Yeah.
He goes, you've got to have a better mindset. You have a stronger mindset. When I was young, he goes, be mentally strong.
Yeah.
He goes, that's the only thing that separates the achievers from the non-achievers.
Yeah,
he goes,
wow.
Use your mind. Yeah, he goes, what you think you'll be, you'll be. Yeah. So.
And what did he do? Like,
He was a farmer.
Farmer,
Yeah, so he's a farmer. He also done a lot of public speaking and a bit of politics. And
I was going to say, advice like that.
He's a good. He was also a good boxer, and back in the day, like he'd be 100 now if he was still alive. So, but yeah, box. But his whole family, the Burkes, were all boxers.
Yeah,
they loved the box, and he was the local sort of JP of the area too. He was just a local sort of person everyone could trust. But yeah, and a good public speaker. Yeah, so yeah.
So looking back over your life to date, what's your sort of biggest achievements? What are the things you're most proud of?
Well, you probably break it down with, you've got probably sporting and then family achievements. So obviously my family achievements of my wife and my 4 kids.
Yeah.
Like met Liv when she come into to my life at the right time, and I was probably lost a bit of focus on what I was doing, and I was pretty happy to sort of meet someone at that time in my life, and so I was on a bit of a downwards slide, I suppose.
Yeah.
And, it sort of gave me another purpose, like let's go again, sort of thing. And and then all the kids coming along, even though they can really rub you up some days. Some nights you just really would just like to sit down and watch a movie, but you don't, because they're sitting there next to you or yelling out. But the kids, like, we have a lot of fun. But then in sporting achievements would be my titles. I won when I was fighting.
Yeah.
Bull riding would be. I wanted to get to the CBR level. Like, I never win any titles with bull riding, but I wanted to get to CBR. Then I got to that CBR, and then my biggest achievement, I suppose, with rodeo would be my bareback career, which wasn't really that good. I went to Mount Isa one year, and I thought, because at the time I'm not sure if it's still the same now, but if you're a secondary bull ride, you couldn't enter the open. So I'm not going all the way to Mount Isa for one ride. I'll enter secondary bareback. So I get there, but I entered it. But I didn't have a bareback reckon, but I entered it. I thought I'll find one. So I get there and I found one, and I went out in the in the long round, and I'd probably been on 10 or 12 by this stage. So I sort of didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew the sort of basics of what you should be doing. It was an awful ride. I scored like 60 or 61. Thank God that's over. Went out. That was on the Saturday afternoon, I think. And this is when the finals were on the Sunday. Went out Saturday night. I got 3-part sideways Saturday night. And I remember getting sort of woken up by an old bull riding mate of mine called Dennis Sparrow. He won Cloncurry that year in the open bull ride. He goes, "You're in the bareback final." I said, "Oh, I'm not, am I?" He goes, "It's surely not. Surely there was 9 or 10 better than me." He goes, "You're up." And I went, "Oh, no." So we go over there, and it was fairly dusty. I get there, and another very good bareback rider was giving me a few tips on the day, which is Tony Heckshear. He's a very good bareback rider. Many Australian champions there. And I always said to me, he goes, he's giving me a few little tips, and he goes, you just don't want, because I used to shoot you for the finals, for the second divies. He goes, you just don't want the big grey. Right? We don't want the big grey, Tony. That'll be good. So we don't get it. I'm standing, I'm crook. I had a big night before. And I'm not shitting you. The big grey runs in the purple shoots, and they drew me in the purple shoots. And I went, "What do we do now?" He goes, "Well, get on it." And I went, "Yeah, but you said don't draw it." What am I going to do? So he gets the rigging in and put my hand in. He sort of only half-heartedly did it. And then all of a sudden it's been wedged in because saying, "You're going in." I'm locked in. I went, what's this horse going to do? And he goes, "He'll go out 3 or 4, and then he'll really shorten up on you."
Yeah.
Oh, this will be good. Anyway, he did. He went out 3 or 4, but every stride he got, I did not have a hold of my legs because I was still hungover. Every stride, I got further and further back. He's put in a big one. Nothing straight up. Weak and everything weak. I've fallen off the wrong side. I'm hung up. This is not good because I've been really wedged in there. I'm going to have to try and get my hand out. Well, it's taken off. I don't know if you've seen the old Mount Isa Arena.
Yeah, it's huge.
They're the big one. Well, I've done a lap of that, but I'm on the outside. And I thought,
in between the panels.
Yeah, in between. I'm like, oh, what a stupid idea. That was my last beer out right. Even though it's my biggest achievement, I got to the finals there, but that was my last one. That's it, I'm done. I'm going back to bulls. Oh.
Bulls are fighting or something, but not this shit.
It's pretty scary when you're on a horse and the panels are whizzing by you. It's like, and you've done a lap, and I'm like, this is sort of finished in the middle, and a long walk back, and I contemplated the whole walk back. I gone down, that might be it. Yeah, no, I might just stick to the ball down. I didn't buy a rigging for that reason.
So, what would you want to be remembered for? Like once it's all said and done?
Probably remembered for, like in life, just being a good husband, father. Like I want to train, like teaching my boys and my girls, the right way and bringing them up to be men and stand on their own 2 feet. So like when they get old, I like them to remember me as being the one that taught them,
Lead by example.
Lead by example and show them what, life gets tough sometimes. Step up and fight, But in the rodeo life, it's sort of now it'd have to be. I'm trying to set up, and it's going to take a few years to do this, but I want to leave a legacy there for my kids for bulls. So we're just sort of picking some bulls and some nice cows, and I'd like to think in 30 or 40 years' time we've got a cracking good team, and then they can take over. Yeah, awesome. That's what I want. That's what I would like it to get. It'll get there. But everything takes time.
Yeah.
So like we've got a good little bull now, little thing, and we'll just keep breeding with him and throwing in. I'll probably try and borrow one off a bloke called Boomstick.
yeah, you can use it.
We'll get a few straws. But like that, them 2 little bulls there. Like if you had a team of 12 there, and in 20 or 30 years' time, because it takes a while to build them up, and like you look at the Woodalls of 55 years.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. It's bloody it's a lot of work gone into that, and just to think that what they started with was what we haven't got.
Yeah,
what they haven't got, what we have. But we've got the breeding of the cows now, and the genetics, and the US influences. And you go back 55 years, none of that.
Yeah.
So that would have been a lot of longer road for them,
Yeah.
So.
And like now we can just buy some cattle from up north and. Getting blood from everywhere and good blood across Australia.
Good blood everywhere. Yeah, like it's no matter where you get them from.
They're US bred too.
Yeah, and then you get them. You bring the embryos or the straws over. It's pretty bloody good. It's exciting where the sport's where it's at. With that, it'll be interesting to see it the next 10 years. I think there'll be some pretty handy stock getting around. Yeah.
And it's cool, especially in Victoria now. Like user got the set, like user getting all set up and got the Woodalls, and there's a few spots like in Victoria. It's going to be good to be able to travel around and get the practice bulls, and everyone's fiddling around. And
there's everyone's sort of fiddling. You got Jack down there in the West District, you got riding over there, and bloody, and there's a few of them getting around. We just need to probably get a few more of the. Just need to break in to get the BBAs down here.
Yeah,
and.
It's just hard with the permits, with the dummy stuff.
Once they get all that legislation ticked off there, it'll be good. Bring them down here, and that's a
BBAs are great, eh?
BBAs, look, they haven't been around that long, but like they're ran by cowboys, and like old riders, and they know, and you can tell, and it's a great association to be around, and what they're doing, I reckon it's great for the sport because it's sort of everyone can have a go, and like they're a good bunch of blokes, and it's good fun,
And it's good for like mobs like us that have a smaller sort of mob. We can have one in a yearling and two in the Derby, and then one in a maturity, and you can sort of take your whole truckload.
Yeah, you can, and you have a bit of fun where like. You go back 20 years ago, you had to be a contractor to have the lot. It just didn't happen. You couldn't do it. Or you might own a bull, but you didn't have what we have, the hands-on of breeding them and raising them and training them
and taking them from kids all the way to the PBR.
I find that the most enjoyment. Like you've seen it from the day. Like I think someone asked me once. They probably thought I'd bought the little fella. They've gone, "Oh, how long have you owned him for?" And I said, "The day he was born." I said, "Well, actually, 9 months early when we eyed him."
Yeah.
I said, "I've owned him all my life, well, all his life." And, so that, and then you see him coming through, and like every trip's a bit better and a bit better, and I'm like, "Yeah, we've got something here." Yeah, no, that's. I love that side of it.
Yeah, watching them learn and get better. And
they're smart. They learn. And it's different. Yeah,
and it's cool. You're seeing them thinking, and then like they might be doing something. You switch them up releases, and then something clicks in their brains, and then they start.
Yeah, I was sort of when we was where I seen or where I read it or heard it, but I was always writing down every time from the first trip which delivery they went, how they went, and I was videoing all of them. And the next time maybe change it up, and that's just I knew he sort of left. We'll go right, so he does with the right. Oh no, he didn't go. We go back to left, and just train them basically. Yeah.
That's what my missus goes. She goes, "What does it take you an hour and a half to grain the cows?" Because I go out there, it takes me about 5 minutes to pour the grain out, and then I just sit back and smoke a couple of cigarettes and just watch all the calves playing. And I just love the animals and love
more time you spend with them, the better they are.
Yeah,
the easier they are to handle.
The whole process is just cool. I really enjoy it. Like
it is fun.
And then to watch them from a cub to a PBR, like that's
good.
That's
when you know you brought them all the way through, it's good. And I'd like to get to the point where we're doing like we've got 12 like that. And, honestly, it's probably maybe 6-10 years away, but I've got time.
Just keep fiddling.
Yeah, I've got time. I'll be there. Yeah, we'll get there. But you just got to give yourself time, and like, nothing happens overnight.
Nah.
And if you think it's going to happen overnight, you're probably in the wrong sport.
You would be rudely awakened.
You would be, yeah.
Because you can have the best genetics both sides, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It does not work. It's like anything. Like you got $1 million colts that get sold at the sales, and they're no good. The $2,000 thing, it's a superstar. Sometimes it just doesn't work. Yeah. It comes down to the individual animal.
Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much for taking the time to come down.
Thank you very much. Good on you.
Beautiful. I'll see you down.
All right, thank you.